The aspect of human nature to cheat and take advantage of a fellow human being is very, very, very sad. One may be ignorant, one may be weak, one may need help. It happens, you can help the person. Can't you help the person willingly? Or do a fair trade and business with the person at least? We are struggling, we are suffering to develop our countries with all the resources that we have as African countries. Bad leadership, corrupt leadership is a major factor to the retardedness of our growth as African countries. But don't you guys pity us? Don't you guys have empathy and sympathy? I'm talking to our Western counterparts. I'm talking to the countries in the West. And now, some Asian countries like China has also joined in the destruction of Africa. Don't you guys pity us? Let's say I'm in a very, very bad situation. I need money to settle an emergency, a problem at hand. And I have this phone. This is the phone that I use. You know my situation. So you approach me and go like, sell your phone to me. So I give you money to settle your problem. You know the price of this phone in the market, let's say, is $1,000. Right? Let's say this phone costs $1,000. You propose to give me $50. I agree and sell the phone to you $50. You then call me dumb, you call me stupid, you call me ignorant. It may be true. It might be true. It may be true that I'm stupid, I'm ignorant, I'm dumb for selling this phone to you $50. But it might be because of the situation I'm in. It might be because of how terrible the situation or problem I have at hand. The question is, don't you feel guilt? Don't your guilty conscience, doesn't it talk to you? Don't you feel bad for cheating me this worse, for taking advantage of me this worse? If you propose or you give me $500 for the phone, it's reasonable. I mean, you've cheated me, but it's understandable, right? Or if you should give me maybe at least $400, it's understandable. But $50, whilst you know for sure, you know very well that this phone costs $1,000. France is in a big trouble, and France is looking for ways and means to solve their problem. And the problem that they have at hand is they are going out of uranium. Uranium is a major resource or material they use in the production of electricity in their country, France. Then they used to mine and take most of the uranium in Niger, and they give the Nigerians chicken change for their uranium because they can. And also because the then leaders of Niger were ignorant, dumb, and not finding ways and means to develop their country with the resources that they have. And just like most African leaders, they are ignorant and not thinking on their toes on how to find ways and means to develop their countries with the resources available to them, and find ways and means to be self-reliant. So basically, France was stealing the uranium from Niger because what they were giving to Niger for their uranium didn't match up, right? But after the coup led by the current president of Niger, General Chiani, he has stopped or prevented France from mining the uranium in Niger. And as I said earlier, uranium is what France uses for the production of electricity in their country. And they use uranium for so many other things too in their country. And it's happened that they got most of their uranium from Niger. So now, this is the problem France has at hand. And they are finding ways to solve that problem. And now, they are eyeing Botswana. They are eyeing Botswana. They are eyeing Botswana's uranium. Botswana's uranium. there is a place in Ghana here called Botswana. So normally it confuses me with the Botswana. Mr. Saros Annan of Tuntum Network has done a video on this whole situation, France eyeing Botswana's uranium, and we are going to react to it. So join me, let's react to the video. I go by the name Niama, and this is New World News. If this is your first time coming across content from this channel, please hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment.
France is a good friend. I'll say this about France. France is a good friend when you do all they want and grant them access to exactly what they ask for. But when you don't, you end up like all the underdeveloped francophone countries in West Africa. Ask the AES. In the last video I did about Ghana's president invited to co-chair with President Macron in the One Health Summit in France. Ladies and gentlemen, if you remember, I mentioned that the president of Botswana was also invited, and guess what? He did honor the invitation, and they shared a lovely time together. I'm talking about Macron and President of Botswana. And I want you to check this short video out of the two and wait for the news I'm about to break afterwards. I have news for you, but please take a look at this video first of all, and then we get into it. Let's look at it.
President
Isn't
of
that beautiful,
Botswana and President of France.
Made me realize one particular thing. Looking at what is happening between France and Ghana, and now France and Botswana. What I realized actually got validated by the news publications this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I realized that President Macron is attempting to shift his focus after 3 years of pursuing Niger to Botswana. France desperately needs uranium.
So I think the coup in Niger, the current and latest coup in Niger happened I think 3 or 4 years ago, and just as Mr. Soros is saying, France has been pursuing and finding ways to convince the current government under General Chiani, right, to allow them to come mine the uranium in Niger, or steal the uranium in Niger, because that is what they are basically doing. Because what they are paying or giving to Niger for their uranium, it doesn't add up. So now they are shifting their focus to Botswana. Yeah, Botswana.
Uranium is the primary resource used to generate France's electricity and maintain France's national defense capabilities, because France ultimately relies heavily on nuclear reactors, which is produced from uranium. Ladies and gentlemen, uranium plays a central role in the France's energy independence and technological leadership in Europe. As a matter of fact, 70% of France's electricity comes from nuclear power. Uranium to France is like hydropower to Ethiopia. The entire infrastructure of France hangs on uranium. It powers their nuclear submarines also. And France was getting the most of the supply from Niger. And 3 years.
So, my understanding to this is almost the economy of France lies heavily on the uranium they get from Niger. If not, but major, or they rely heavily on the uranium they get from Niger, because that powers their electricity, their nuclear reactors. They use it for even their military defense systems and all that, their submarines, their machines and all that. Right? So they're not getting that supply from Niger again. It's going to affect the economy. It's going to affect so many things in their country. So they were finding ways and means to convince and be like, they were pursuing Niger to get that consistent or frequent flow of uranium to their country.
Niger said, no more. Ladies and gentlemen,
okay.
No more. Niger literally said, we are no more partnering you to mine our uranium. We are nationalizing it. We will mine it with whoever we choose to partner, and you can only buy from us like it's sold on the world market. That's the whole reason Macron cannot leave the AES alone, because France's very life depends on it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the facts. But he's not succeeding.
And what Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali is doing is what most African countries should be doing. Because the reality is, Africa is not the only continent blessed with all these resources. The West, Europe, America, Asia, they are also blessed with these resources. So ask yourself, why aren't they mining their resources but coming to Africa to mine it? Because number one, we are ignorant. Our leadership is very terrible. The way these Western and Asian countries are thinking, their leaders are thinking on their toes to find ways and means to develop their country to be self-reliant. If our people, our leaders are also doing the same, they will be like, they won't come here to come mine our resources and give us chicken change, right? Because gold in Africa, Ghana is, I think, number one. Production of gold and gold reserves in the ground, we are number one, right? And I think number 12 on the global stage. Do you know those number one and number two when it comes to gold production and gold reserves in the grounds? Like world stage, I think it's the US and Russia. The US and Russia has more gold reserves or gold deposits in their land, more than Africa, more than Ghana and South Africa. And you understand what I'm going to, yeah, right? So why are we allowing these foreigners to come to our land, mine our resources, and give us chicken change, when we can nationalize our resources, mine it by ourselves, and sell it the way they are selling it on the world market, and that will give us more income, right? We did a story. Was it Mozambique? They're finding oil deposits in their land, and bro, when you look at how much they will be making, the income that will be coming to the country from that oil deposit, as comparing it to other African countries who have the same oil deposits in their land, and they've partnered with these foreign companies to come mine that oil, and what they are getting from the mining and extraction of this oil and natural gas in their land. When you compare the Mozambique own that they say they want to extract it and mine it by themselves, comparing it to African countries who have allowed these foreigners to come do it for them. When you look at the money gap, the income gap that Mozambique will be getting more than these African countries, it's absurd. It is insane. It's big. It's large. So the point is, African countries, our leaders, you guys should start thinking on your toes. You guys should think of ways and means to mine and nationalize these resources for us, and mine it by yourselves and sell it. Go sell it on the world market, so you get more income. All the profits, all the income, all the perks and benefits will come to you. You just have to invest little, and you get more. You can't wait. You say you the nominated. You did now. It's new. What means now? Say, then you expect the person to give you a bigger portion, or like amount. That doesn't work like that way, right? We use fish to fish for fish, right? So it doesn't add up that you sit down and fold your arms and allow someone to come fish your pond or your sea with their fish as a bait, and expect them to give you the catch that they made because it's your sea. Like, they should give you everything. I don't know if I'm making sense, but there's my 2 cents. Let's continue with the video.
And time is of essence. Before they run out of their reserve, they are running out, and it's so quickly running out. When France continues to buy from Canada or Russia or Australia, for instance, they buy at a high price. And from the way wars are coming up, these countries aren't even really selling again as much as they used to sell, because they equally need it, ladies and gentlemen. And so Macron seemed to be looking for a cheaper alternative. When France buys from...
So when they want cheaper alternatives, it's Africa that they come to. Meanwhile, as Mr. Saro said, Russia, Canada, and Australia have this same uranium, but they won't go and buy at these countries because they've mined it by themselves, refined it, and they're going to sell it the way it's sold on the world market. The exact price or amount that is sold on the world market. But because we are dumb, we are ignorant, we are stupid, we are lazy, not wanting to think on our toes and do same as these developed countries are doing. And we want corruption has eaten into our brains, has eaten into our DNA. Right? Champagne for a few, dirty water for the masses. That kind of mentality that African leaders have, that people of Africa have. Champagne for the few, dirty water for the masses. So they will come to Africa because of this mentality that our leaders have and come buy it at a cheaper price. Meanwhile, let's continue the video.
For instance, it's cheaper, but anything can happen from now. The Caspian Sea, where the ships move from Central Asia to Europe, could be hit in the ongoing war between Iran and America and coal. And so France is in a very sticky situation. It appears it's only in Africa where the uranium isn't used for nuclear and energy purpose. So France needs to get it. It sits here doing nothing. We are the only continent that mines the uranium and sells all of it to other countries. And I want you to check out the African countries with uranium deposits. You'll be shocked. You have Niger, Namibia, and South Africa as the known countries with the largest deposits. And then you also have Mali, Algeria, Morocco, Tanzania, Tunisia, Malawi, Zambia, Kenya, Ethiopia, and the DRC with not so much because it is not even explored. Ladies and gentlemen, South Africa is the only country in Africa with an operating nuclear power plant. Egypt is building one at the moment, but South Africa actually uses one. The rest of us, the rest of Africa, has serious electricity problems, including South Africa, and have uranium that we sit on, but we don't use them.
We are not utilizing them. And don't we learn from our mistakes? Can't we learn from our mistakes as African people, as African leaders? In the past, if these our colonial masters were mining our resources without paying us what we are worth or what they've mined, it's understandable that, maybe our forefathers didn't know the use of those resources. They were ignorant, basically, right? But now we know the use, right? We know, even if we don't know the use, we know that once these people are mining it, definitely it's useful. So if you can't mine it by yourself, sit down, just sit on it. You don't use it. You don't allow anybody to mine it. Don't allow these foreigners to mine it. You sit down on it and until you figure out how to mine it by yourself and refine it by yourself. Then you start mining. This is one basic solution to this problem. If you don't have the machines, if you don't have the tools, the materials to mine and extract and refine these resources by our own selves, we should just sit on it and find ways and means, figure things out. Until we figure out how to mine, extract, and refine it by ourselves, we should just sit on it. We shouldn't allow these foreign people to come do it for us. And even if we allow them, let's say we also need money, and this is something we can use to get money to our countries, to our individual countries, right? If you allow these people to come mine it, open your eyes, right? Open your eyes and look at what they are mining and make sure that whatever resource that they are mining, no matter how small amount that they are mining, you should open your eyes and let them pay you what you are worth. Like whatever they are giving you, whether it's the royalties, whatever, it should be reasonable. It should be at least meet the world market selling price. Even if it's not the same price, it should be at least the gap shouldn't be that big. I don't know if I'm making sense. So if uranium is maybe 1 ton, it's maybe $1,000, right? And you've allowed this foreign company to come mine on your land, on your uranium deposit in your country, right? And after taking the cost and everything, in mining and refining and extracting, and after taking out that the cost, maybe now so after taking the cost and everything, $1,000 on the world market, you should at least maybe the France or this foreign company should be paying you at least maybe $500, because definitely you guys will share, right? But it shouldn't be the case that it will be less. That's maybe $20 for a ton of uranium, maybe $10. They'll be giving you $10. Meanwhile, it's in your country that they've come to mine and extract. And I don't know if I'm making sense. Let's continue with the video.
Uranium sitting in Africa doing nothing. But France is not interested in buying from Africa at market price. That is a fact. So what they do is they provide you some aid and grants here and there, and they take the thing away. They take the uranium away. And when you decide to question them or demand for more from the mines, they topple your government and then they set the country on fire. This is their trait, time and again. They use that strategy. So when they want to come into your country for partnership, like what they are trying to set up with Botswana now, it's either you deny them from the onset or associate yourself with their rival, talking about Russia and China.
Russia, China.
They want the uranium in Botswana. That is it.
China, but at this point, they are also becoming like the West. Honestly speaking, China at this point are also becoming like the West, because even with the West, at least they won't destroy your environment, right? They will cheat you, they will take advantage of you, but at least they won't destroy your environment. But what some Chinese people are doing, what some Chinese companies are doing in Ghana, to be specific, in terms of mining our gold, galamsey, they'll destroy and pollute your environment, your land, degrade your land, and leave it like that without making it or turning it back into what it used to be. Right, so China at this point is turning into the West.
Don't make it. This is why I believe Macron specifically invited Duma Boko to the summit. Now, President Boko is the president of Botswana, and Botswana has so much untapped uranium deposits. France wants to tap into that uranium deposit in Botswana. Niger has over 320,000 tons of uranium deposits. It has the world's largest explored uranium deposits, and Botswana has about 100,000 tons.
Really?
But the thing is this: Botswana uranium hasn't even been commercially mined yet. It is still under exploration, unlike Niger's uranium. And so the volume may even go up as exploration continues. So Macron strategically invited President Boko to get the conversation started.
Of Botswana.
Previous presidents of Botswana visited France, but it was all about trade and investment and education and climate stuff. But I can promise you this: this visit with Boko and Macron has very little to do with all that stuff. It is going to center around the uranium deposits. If you want to know whether I'm making a wild goose chase or there is some truth in what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be sure about it, look out for grants and aids from France to Botswana in the coming months. French favors are going to begin to pour into Botswana, whether through the World Bank or IMF or from the EU. It is going to be similar to the relationship between Ghana and France now. And then one day we will hear a French company has been contracted into an agreement with Botswana to mine their uranium. We will know this very, very soon. Botswana is a huge country with a small population. They have a lot of peace and development, and then they have a lot of untapped natural resources.
Uranium.
They have depended on their diamonds for years, and recently diamonds produced in the laboratories became commercialized, and so their diamonds aren't in demand like before. This is putting a lot of pressure on their newly elected president, who is from a different political party, unlike all their previous presidents who came from the same party since independence. This guy is new from a new party, the first time in Botswana's history, and this is putting a lot of pressure on him to up his game, to do something about it. So he may be interested. Ladies and gentlemen,
so is Niger the largest producer of uranium in the world? Why are they then trooping in and flooding into Ghana? Bro, this is very sad. This is very sad. And another problem of African countries is that we tend to rely solely on our resources. We are not looking for other alternatives to develop our countries, to find income and resource and like materials to develop our countries. We are just relying solely on our resources, our natural resources, and even with that too, we are bad at it. We are allowing people to steal from us. What I'm trying to say is, when we look at countries like Singapore, they don't have that much natural resources. I don't even think they even have natural resources. But Singapore is one of the most developed countries in the world. It's one of the most wealthiest countries in the world. And you know what they do? They train or they produce architects, people who build infrastructure and buildings, and you get me? They produce architects, send them to the world to go and work and make money and bring that money back into the country. That is their alternative of what? Of making money for the country. And tourism too plays a major role or brings income to their economy, which is Singapore. Right, so African leaders, why are we relying solely on our natural resources? So are we saying that without the natural resources, we'll be worse than this? Are we saying that without the natural resources, countries in Africa will be worse than this? The West, Europe, America, industrialization was their major push to their development. So we can also, and industrialization has proved China and some Asian countries are following the same path to development. So we've gotten like the templates. We've now seen the templates that industrialization is the best alternative now to develop as a country. So why aren't we looking at industrialization? Leaders of Africa, African leaders, African presidents, why aren't you guys looking at industrialization? We are just relying solely on our natural resources, and even with that, we are still bad at it because we are allowing people to come steal from us.
President Duma Boko is under serious pressure, and pressure can make a man do what he wouldn't do in a different condition. Ladies and gentlemen, in a different condition. France used to mine their own uranium in their own country. They have uranium in their own country.
What happened to their uranium?
2001. They closed down all their uranium mines and moved to other countries for supply. Why?
Why did they close our uranium mine? Why? If you guys have uranium in your own country, why don't you guys mine your own uranium? But rather you choose to close your own and come to Africa and mine it and give us chicken change and cheat us and take advantage of us. So yes, where the question comes, don't you guys have empathy and sympathy for us? Is it because African people are accommodating? We open our arms to be hospitable, basically, like we open our arms to foreigners. The day or when Africa starts to be hostile to the rest of the world, bro, the rest of the world will be very, very, very sad. Will be in a very bad condition or terrible condition. The day in our local dialect, if I'm translating it literally, it means when an idiot becomes wise, your games stop, your games end. When you are doing something with an idiot, I'm explaining it further to you guys. When you are doing something with a stupid person or an idiot person or a foolish person, and it seems you are manipulating that foolish person for your own benefit, for your own gains. The day that foolish person becomes wise, then you notice that your games will end, your manipulation will end, and you begin to suffer because now that foolish person might take revenge or he will give you tough time. So Western countries and Western counterparts, why are you guys keen on destroying us? Don't you guys pity us? Don't you guys have empathy? What happened to your guilty conscience?
They have insignificant uranium reserves right now to depend on. Every day time goes by without they finding a new supplier, the more close they are to seeing the economy shut down. They need the thing badly, and they'll do the worst to to have it. They need uranium badly, and they will do the worst to have their hands on it. They will never allow Niger to get away with this. If you really understand the impact it's having on their economy, on their country, they will continue.
So what? Are they going to fight Niger? Like, are they going to wage a war against Niger for their uranium? You were stealing from me, and now I'm like, yo, go away. I don't want you to steal from me anymore. And you're angry with me. You vex me. You bore. Why I won't allow myself for you to rob me, for you to steal from me? So are they going to wage war against Niger? So this is where Africa should be working together. We should be working hand in hand. So I like this whole AES group. Right? I like it. I like it's very nice for African countries to collaborate together, to partner together. Right? To join hands together and fight their common enemy. And also what? Develop, help each other what? Grow. This is what Nkrumah was preaching. Pan-Africanism, Africa unity. Because our local dialects, now we say a proverb that I said in the trend, translated in the English. Uji prayer bakwa ebu, but ukamboma ebu, which means when you take out a matches or a broom, it can break easily. But when it is together, when it sticks, when you bind sticks together, right, it's difficult to break. Right, so this is where Africa, we have to unite together and fight our common enemy and help each other grow. We should do business together. We should trade amongst ourselves. And Botswana's president, Juma Boko, sorry if I'm mentioning the name wrongly. If you are selling your diamonds and now the world is not in need of your diamonds anymore, that's not the end of the world. You should look, the templates are there. Industrialization. You should find a way to produce something that the world would need, apart from your natural resource, which is the diamonds or the uranium. You find, bro, African leaders, is this rocket science? Is this thing hard? Is this that hard? Maybe I'm sitting, maybe I'm young, and I'm youthful exuberance. I'm seeing things are easy, right? I'm seeing it to be easy, but it's not like that. So you guys should explain to us, like, because it doesn't make sense from where I'm sitting, my point of view, my POV, my perspective. I'm seeing everything to be easy. It's not rocket science, bro. This is not rocket science. So why aren't you guys doing the right thing and allowing yourself to be manipulated and tricked and selling and giving out our resources, our future on a silver platter to these foreigners, to the West, to Europe, and to some Asian countries? Why are you guys doing us this? Why are you
continue to do all they can to either get the people of Niger, the leadership of Niger, into a dialogue or remove the current leadership? Mark my words. I know one of these days, one of these days, one of these two situations will happen between Niger and France. Now, this is where AU would have been relevant. This is where you would need a bigger voice to back countries in Africa. But AU is in the pocket of the West. AU is only an organization that exists on paper, ladies and gentlemen. And people of Botswana, brace yourselves for the newfound friendship between your country and France. France is a good friend. I'll say this about France. France is a good friend when you do all they want and grant them access to exactly what they ask for. But when you don't, you end up like all the underdeveloped francophone countries in West Africa. Ask the AES. You can call everything I've said speculation or wild, baseless argument. But one thing you won't call it is France has never been a good friend to Africans in West Africa. If you ever say this, you wouldn't be objective, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, people of Botswana, keep your eyes and ears to the ground on what's going on, what's going to transpire between France and your country in the coming weeks or months. I love Botswana, and I wish I had a home there, actually. So I wish their government all the best. I'll end it here. My name is Cyrus, and thanks for watching. This is Tutu Network from Accra, by the way. Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell for more. I'll see you in the next.
Please do subscribe to Tutu Network on YouTube and all social platforms. Do subscribe to also get content like this from his channel And remember also to do the needful on this channel to hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment. I'll give you a minute to do that. I know you've enjoyed yourself, you enjoyed the content. I know you've learned something. I know your mind has been open now to what's happening, to what's going on in Africa. Right? So hit the subscribe button because I know you want more. Right? You would want more from this channel, content like this. So I'll give you a minute. Hit the subscribe button. Also, go under the comment section and chat. Let's vibe. Let's communicate. Let's talk. Share your ideas. Share your thoughts. Share your suggestions. Right? I go by the name Niama, and this is New LA News. If this is your first time, I know you've done the needful. You've subscribed. Hope to catch you on the next episode.